I'm back. Basically what I was saying for the last video ended abruptly because I only have 10 minutes to do each video. But this is the number that each time a wave increases, you're gonna increase by. So you could create a set, increase value um, that you want to increase by. That you could also augment, but you can fiddle around with that if you want. I'm just gonna set it to 5, and basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna multiply that for at least mine by the wave number minus 1. So basically, let me explain this for a second. You have, for us it's 5. So on the first wave it'll spawn 5 because 5 plus, 0 is 5. But basically, let's say we're on wave 2, it's gonna be now 10. It's gonna spawn 10, and then if we're on wave, 3, it's gonna spawn 15. Wave, and so on and so on and so on. So just keep going up by 5 each wave. The total number it spawns. So now we're going to basically go set up the for loop. So for I'll do I for I equals 0. I could make it like k or something just to be obnoxious, but I'm not going to do that. Is less than spawn num. So for I is less than spawn num, I plus plus, so just iterate through up until we're at the spawn number. And basically here's where we do the spawning. So first thing we want to do is, remember we did the yield time. We want to yield for the for that time. So basically a random not random dot range between the yield time min and yield time max. So we're gonna wait for that for a random time between those two. You could make a set time if you want, but we're just gonna do a random. It makes it a little bit more fun. So now is where we're going to basically set up the objects that we're going to spawn. So we're just going to declare, object, which is, going to be a game object, and then set that equal to the enemy prefabs. And you could do it, since we're only going to have one enemy, it's not going to really matter. But let's say you had a bunch of different types of enemies. You had like some weaker enemies and then some stronger enemies. We're gonna set it up this way, so depending on however you do it, it's still gonna work. Unless you don't want it to randomly spawn enemies, we're gonna have it randomly spawn between all the enemies that you hold in the array. So random dot range between 0 and then the enemy prefabs dot length. Okay, so that's that. That's the game object variable we're holding. So now we're going to hold the positions that they're going to spawn at. And basically we want these to be also sort of fun and random, because you don't want them to all spawn at the same position too. So this is going to be a transform. We're just going to set that like we did before with the enemy prefabs to the spawn points, and then do a random dot range between 0 and then the spawn points dot length. So there. So you have all that. So now that we have these two variables, we need to actually, instantiate them. So here's the code for instantiating. So instantiate object. You can call that enemy, but object at, you know what, position sounds better. This is gonna be weird though. Watch this. Position dot position. Kind of bad naming. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can also do plus the factor. Here's where the the spawn offsets. Here's where this comes in. Okay. Vector 3. Which I'm gonna move this down so you can still see it. Vector 3. Random dot range spawn x offset min spawn x offset max comma 0 because we didn't have any for that, but for the y, and then we do the random dot range using the spawn z offset min spawn z offset max. There. Whoop. And we're not done yet though. And we need the position dot rotation. There. So now the objects are instantiated, and so at the end, that variable, the enemy counter variable, we're gonna add that every time it instantiates a enemy, so we can hold the number of enemies spawned. Now basically that is pretty much the entire spawn enemy script. Well, spawn enemies function. The script is got a couple more things. Basically we have the update wave function, where we're going to I got 2 minutes left. We're going to update the wave. Which basically, for this, it's pretty simple. That wave number that we stored and set it equal to 1. Basically, we're gonna I'll explain it and I'll start a new video, but basically we're gonna increase that when we update the wave, and then we're gonna recall each time we update the wave the spawn enemies with the new wave value. So it'll always spawn enemies each time it updates the wave with the new wave value rather than the old wave value, and that's pretty much the entire script. And you can expand on that if you want. You'll be able to you could have them do yield times before you spawn things. You can do whatever you want with it, but I'll show you in action next video. Pause.